25,000. That's a big number that could mean many things. It could be the population of a small town, the crowd inside of a large stadium, or roughly the amount of miles that cover the circumference of the Earth. But what I'm sure many people don't think 25,000 could represent is the number of people who have banded together to collectively hate a specific character in a Pokemon game. A character so random, so out of the way, and so unimportant to the story, yet has caused anguish and undying hatred to thousands of players across the world with just one interaction. That character is none other than Gen 4's Mindy. If you search for Pokemon's most evil NPCs, you'll see that she's almost always the main target. But what exactly did she do to become the unanimous victim of such a title? Well, I'm gonna take a look at the interaction, why she's so hated among so many people, and see if 25,000 people are truly right about Mindy being Pokemon's most evil NPC. Northern Sinnoh is one of the most treacherous parts of the Pokemon universe. In particular, the path to Snowpoint City is the most difficult part of any Sinnoh trainer's journey. From the moment you leave Mount Coronet, you're met with tons of snow slamming against your face. As you look at the road ahead, all you can see is white and more white. The sheer cold and uninviting aesthetics almost feel like you're not supposed to be here. But this is the only way to Snowpoint City. Here we have Dawn, whose team is, well, not exactly much of a team. All she has is a Medicham and a dream to become the champion. But this Medicham isn't any old ordinary one. It's been trained to its fullest potential, ready to easily defeat any trainer in Dawn's path. And just like Medicham, Dawn has a spirit that burns hotter than the snow around her. After getting through the frigid hellstorm, Dawn reaches Lake Acuity, and then Snowpoint City, the loneliest, coldest point in all of Sinnoh. As inhospitable as it is, it's where Dawn needs to visit to earn her 7th badge. And as usual, being the explorer she is, after healing her Pokemon, she decides to explore random people's houses, because that's what any reasonable person would do upon visiting a city for the first time. While most of the houses don't have anything really noteworthy, inside of the last house is a blonde-haired woman. Dawn decides to go and talk to her. The woman eagerly, almost sporadically, sparks conversation with Dawn. Introducing herself as Mindy, she immediately offers to trade her Haunter for Dawn's Medicham, conveniently the only Pokemon that Dawn has on her. Well, this is a bit of a strange offer, almost too good even. While Medicham is a fantastic Pokemon because of its incredible attacking prowess, Dawn also knows that by trading, Haunter can evolve into Gengar, one of the strongest Pokemon in the game. Why on earth would this random woman be so quick to give away such a powerful Pokemon for just a Medicham? Perhaps it's some sort of scam? Or it could just be that this woman is unaware of Haunter's evolution method. If that's the case, then it's an easy deal. Dawn quickly agrees, and the trade proceeds. In just a few seconds, Dawn will have a powerful Gengar at her disposal. Feeling excited, almost as if she's about to commit a robbery, the trade completes. Haunter joins her party and doesn't evolve. Looking up, Mindy has a devious grin on her face. The trade is complete. Mindy now has Dawn's Medicham, and Dawn now has Haunter. Did my Haunter turn into something else? She asks while holding in laughter. I'm just kidding. I made it hold in Everstone. And now we can see why just one small interaction can cause such massive detriment to anyone gullible enough to trade with Mindy. After traveling through one of the worst parts of Sinnoh with no shelter in sight, tired and desperate for anything, most people will talk to all of the townspeople in search of something good. Little do they know, Mindy knows exactly that. She knows that most people will chat with everyone living in Snowpoint City. She knows that you know that Haunter evolves by trade. She knows that Gengar is one of the strongest Pokemon you can get in Gen 4. She knows that you'll do anything for more power. Now you can see why Mindy is so hated across the internet. For over 17 years, this single character has created so much inconvenience, distrust, and undying hatred towards not just her, but to all NPCs who offer to trade or give you a Pokemon. To this day, new victims are still getting tricked by this unassuming looking lady who just wants to give you something good. To make things even worse, in the Diamond and Pearl remakes, Game Freak kept the tradition alive. Even after all of these years, Mindy still wants to annoyingly steal a Medicham from anyone foolish enough to dare step into her house, and in return, give you a useless Haunter. But is she really the most evil NPC? I think we need to investigate this. You see, the thing that makes Mindy an evil NPC is not that she's inherently evil and wishes suffering on the player. Rather, she's evil on the grounds that she acts as a beginner's trap by giving the player the false hope of potentially getting a Gengar. She knows that power is what people want most, and she plays into that by taking advantage of new players' greed. But is her trade really the worst in all of Pokemon? While her trade is an obvious scam, Haunter itself isn't that bad of a Pokemon, and there are definitely worse trades than this one. I think there are some NPCs who could compete with Mindy. The first one that comes to mind is the Magikarp salesman, who is notorious for offering a never-before-seen Magikarp to new trainers, all for the cheap price of 500 Pokédollars. To make things worse, he also makes an appearance in the Gen 5 games, performing the exact same scam he did over a decade ago. But while his intentions are ill-hearted, as I discussed in a previous video, I'd actually argue that he does a pretty terrible job as a con artist. Magikarp itself is completely worthless, but by putting in the effort to evolve it, you can get a powerful Gyarados very early in the game, which is worth far more than 500 Pokédollars. In a way, he's sort of unintentionally on your side. I will say though that Magikarp is only obtainable through this single interaction in Black and White, and Magikarp does make an appearance in the new Nature Preserve in the sequels, so perhaps the Magikarp salesman's true intentions in Gen 5 are to flood its exotic ecosystems with invasive Magikarp. The second NPC I want to mention is the lone hiker on Route 226, stranded on an island in the middle of the pond. Upon talking to him, he'll offer to trade his Magikarp for your Finneon. The catch being that his Magikarp is a special, one-of-a-kind Magikarp from the far-away Germany. The thing is, that special catch is just a guise to distract the player from his true intention. As I just mentioned, the house that he's in is completely surrounded by water, and because Magikarp can't learn Surf, he can't escape. So he's had to resort to what he ends up doing to you, trading away his useless Magikarp for a Finneon so he can escape. And now you're the one trapped on that island forever, just waiting for the next gullible traveler to arrive. But the last NPC I want to mention is one that many probably don't think about or even know exists. In Pokemon X and Y, on specific days of the week, if you visit the hotels throughout your journey, you might encounter a hiker. For the first few days of talking to him, he'll reveal more information about himself, and as the days go by, you and him will begin to form a bit of a friendship. Eventually, he decides to express his gratitude for continuing to talk to him by offering his super special Magikarp for your Gyarados. But then, once the trade is done, you'll realize that his Magikarp has absolutely nothing special about it. Just when you thought you were becoming good friends, you find out that you are nothing but a free source of entertainment and labor to him. The Magikarp he gave has the nickname Carpe Diem. How fitting, as that's exactly what you did. Lived in the moment without worrying about what could possibly come in the future. But maybe if you did, you wouldn't be the one stuck with such a useless fish. But all of this comes to the central question: is Mindy truly Pokemon's most evil NPC? A lot of people cite her as the most evil character in Pokemon because of how simple and devious her sole purpose is. I personally think that while Mindy's trade is an example of a perfect troll to unexpected new players, I also think that she teaches a valuable lesson in not to expect the results you want by taking shortcuts. At the end of the day, there is no definitive most evil NPC. It's all up to you, but personally, I don't think it's Mindy. The Magikarp salesman tries to give away his useless Magikarp to make a quick buck and invade the exotic waters of Unova. The Route 226 hiker intentionally wants to trade away his Magikarp to strand you in his house. And even worse, the Kalos hiker leads you into thinking that he's a trustworthy friend, only to leave you hanging in the dust. Just you, a fish, and the hauntingly ironic message, Carpe Diem.